When I look at a Skool community, I am usually looking for one thing first. I am looking for where the motion is getting interrupted. Because most of the time, the surface signal is easy to see. The room feels quiet, new members join and browse, posts are getting views but very few replies. The owner is posting more, checking in more, trying another challenge, trying another prompt, trying to bring the energy back into the room. But the surface signal rarely tells the full story. A quiet community can come from weak acquisition. It can come from unclear activation. It can come from a missing weekly rhythm. It can come from a community that has helped people but has not yet created a natural reason for those people to bring others in. That is why inside the Calm engine, I do not start with more posting ideas. I start with the momentum map. The momentum map is one of the first mechanisms I use with our members because it gives the community a clear diagnostic before any new strategy gets added. I like it because it is simple. It has 4 stages: acquire, activate, engage, refer. That is the flywheel. Acquire is how the right people find and join the community. Activate is what happens after they join, especially during the first 7 days. Engage is the rhythm that brings members back each week. Refer is the point where members begin to bring other people in, either through referrals, shared wins, invitations, or visible proof from inside the room. When I map a community through these 4 stages, I can stop guessing. I can see whether the community actually needs more traffic or whether the people who already arrive are landing in a room that is too hard to navigate. I can see whether the owner has an acquisition question or an activation question. I can see whether engagement is low because members are not interested or because the room has no rhythm for them to return to. I can see whether referrals are absent because the community has no results yet or because the results are happening quietly and never being turned into visible proof. That is the work of the momentum map. It turns a vague feeling into a specific stage. And once I know the stage, I can choose a lever. That word matters. A lever is not a complete rebuild. A lever is one specific adjustment that can move the stage forward. This is where many community owners create too much cognitive load for themselves. They look at the community and create a long list of everything that could be improved. New banner, better classroom, more content, new challenge, better posts, better onboarding, more DMs, new offer, new event, new pricing, more visibility. Maybe all of those things could help one day, but if everything becomes urgent, nothing gets sequenced. The momentum map forces a calmer question. Which stage is stalling first? That is the first lever. Let me walk through the 4 stages the way I would look at them with our members. The first stage is acquire. Acquire asks, how are new people finding the community right now? This can include content, conversations, referrals, events, invitations, search, profile visits, or the Skool discovery flow. I am not looking for a complicated marketing machine here. I am looking for a clear path. Can the right person understand what this community is for? Can they see a reason to join? Is there a public signal that points them toward the room? Is the invitation clear enough that someone knows what they are stepping into? When acquire is working, new people arrive without the owner needing to do a big push every time. It may still be small, it may still be early, but there is a path. When acquire is weak, growth depends heavily on the owner personally inviting people, announcing things, or restarting momentum from the outside. The second stage is activate. Activate is one of the most important stages because this is where a new member decides how they will behave in a room. Inside the Calm engine, I pay close attention to the first 7 days. Not because 7 days is magical, because the first week teaches the member what kind of room they have joined. If they land in the community and see a clear first action, they are more likely to move. If they know where to post, what to share, and what happens after they share it, the friction drops. If they post something and receive a specific response, they feel seen. That first action matters. The third stage is engage. Engage is where the community learns to return. This is the stage where many owners start to carry too much because they think engagement means they need to be interesting every day. I see it differently. I think engagement needs rhythm more than constant novelty. A community becomes easier to run when members know what happens each week. There is a difference between posting because the feed feels quiet and running a weekly engine that members can recognize. That is why Premium inside the Calm engine goes deeper into the weekly engine. The weekly engine is where our members build the recurring rhythm. It gives the community a consistent structure so participation does not depend on random bursts of energy. Publicly, I can say the principle clearly. Members return when the room has a rhythm they can attach to. Inside Premium, our members go into the actual structure, prompts, timing, review process, and adjustments. That distinction matters. I can teach the lens here. Inside the community, I help install the mechanism. The fourth stage is Refer. Refer is where the community begins to create its own fuel. This stage is not about asking everyone to promote the community. It is about creating something worth mentioning. Members refer when they can clearly say what changed for them. They refer when they feel proud to be part of the room. They refer when they see someone else who would benefit from the same space. They refer when the community gives them language for what they are building and proof that the system is working. So when I look at Refer, I ask simple questions. Are members talking about the community outside the room? Are wins visible? Are results being named? Are members inviting aligned people because it feels natural? Is there any proof that the community is traveling beyond the owner? If the answer is still early, that is fine. Refer usually comes later, but it still belongs on the map from the beginning, because it reminds the owner that the goal is not only to fill the room, the goal is to build a room that creates motion. So the full momentum map looks at all four stages. Acquire, how are people finding and joining? Activate, what happens in the first 7 days? Engage, what brings members back each week? Refer, what helps the community travel beyond the room? For each stage, I ask our members to write 3 things. Current state, biggest gap, lever to pull. That is it. The current state keeps the map honest. The biggest gap names the friction. The lever to pull creates the next step. And at the end, I want one final answer. What is the biggest stall right now? Because that is where the work starts. Not the most exciting part, not the part that feels easiest, not the part that looks best in public. The biggest stall. This is the part I want every community owner to understand. What I do inside the Calm engine can be translated into almost any niche. The Calm engine is built for school owners, so our language is flywheels, activation, engagement, community rhythm, referrals, and operators. But the structure underneath it can work inside a totally different kind of community. If someone runs a fitness community, their momentum map will not sound like mine. Their acquire stage might ask, how are the right people finding this fitness room? Their activate stage might ask, does a new member complete their first movement assessment, meal snapshot, or training plan within the first 7 days? Their engage stage might ask, is there a weekly check-in rhythm that brings people back? Their refer stage might ask, are members sharing their progress with friends, family, or people who want the same result? Same structure, different language. If someone runs a baking community, the first win asset might be a simple recipe confidence check. Maybe the member posts the kind of baker they are, the recipe they want to master, and the one thing that usually creates friction in their baking process. That becomes their first turn. They arrive, they know what to do, they post something specific. The owner can respond with something useful. The community has a starting point. If someone runs a writing community, the first action might be posting one rough headline or one paragraph. If someone runs a bookkeeping community, the first action might be a simple money snapshot. If someone runs a parenting community, the first action might be naming one daily routine that needs more structure. If someone runs a language learning community, the first action might be recording a 30-second introduction in the language they are learning. The niche changes, the mechanism stays the same. That is why I care so much about structure. A mechanism is stronger than a content idea. A content idea works once. A mechanism can be translated over and over again. Inside the Calm engine, our members use the momentum map to name where their Skool community is stalling. But in your community, your version of the momentum map might help your members name their training gap, their writing gap, their business gap, their learning gap, their health gap, or their creative gap. The point is to create a first action that does three things. It orients the member, it gives them a small result, it gives the owner useful context. That is the real engine behind the first turn. When someone joins the Calm engine and posts their momentum map, I immediately know how to respond. I know what stage they are in. I know what they have already built. I know where the friction is. I know which lever matters first. That same principle can work in any community. If your members' first post gives you useful context, you can guide them better. If their first action gives them a small result, they feel momentum faster. If the community sees new members posting clearly and receiving useful responses, the room starts to feel alive without the owner needing to perform all day. That is the translation. That is what makes the momentum map useful. It gives the owner the discipline to choose one stage and one lever. I also recommend doing this even if a community does not exist yet, because the momentum map is not only a community diagnostic, it is a business thinking tool. If someone is still planning their business, the map helps them think through what needs to be true. How will the right people find this? What will happen when they arrive? What is the first action I want them to take? What rhythm will keep them connected? What result would make this worth sharing? Those are strong business questions. They create structure before the build begins. And this is why I made the momentum map part of the free experience inside the Calm engine. I want people to start there. Inside the Calm engine, the momentum map is free. Setting up the foundation is free. Setting up the activation strategy is free. That means someone can come in, map the flywheel, build the front door, and create the first activation path without needing to upgrade first. That is intentional, because I want the first part of the system to prove itself. Then, when someone is ready to go deeper, Premium is where I help our members build the next layers. The weekly engine, the growth flywheel, the monetization layer, retention and culture, scaling. Those are deeper layers because they work best once the foundation and activation path are in place. So whatever stage you are in, I would still start with the momentum map. If you already have a community, it will show where motion is leaking. If you are building a community, it will show what needs to be designed before people arrive. If you are still shaping the business, it will help you think through the path from attention to participation to retention to referral. The map gives you clarity. The foundation gives that clarity a place to land. The activation strategy helps the first member move. And from there, the engine has something to build on. So my gift to you at the end of this video is simple. Start with the momentum map. Even if your community is small, even if your community is still an idea, even if you are still thinking through what your business wants to become. The momentum map will help you see the full system instead of only the part that feels loud today. I will include the link to the momentum map below this video. Start there. Map the 4 stages. Name the stall. Choose the first lever. And when you are ready, post it inside our first turn category so I can help you find your biggest stall and identify what needs to be tackled first.